you are still awake. It is late, and the harder you try to sleep, the further away sleep feels. Tonight, I want to tell you a story about a monk named Ananda, who once could not sleep for 40 nights. Not because he was sick, not because he was in pain, but because he was trying too hard. This story is over 2,000 years old, but it was written for you, for this exact moment, for the mind that will not quiet. So let your body settle now. Let your shoulders drop. Let your jaw loosen. You do not need to do anything tonight. Just listen, and let the story carry you. Ananda was the Buddha's closest companion. He had a perfect memory. He remembered every teaching, every word, every pause. People came from distant lands just to hear him speak. But one season, something broke inside him. He began to fear he was forgetting. He would lie down each night, and his mind would race. Did I remember the teaching correctly? Did I miss something important? And the more he checked, the more he doubted. The more he doubted, the less he could rest. 40 nights passed. Ananda grew pale and thin. His eyes became hollow. His hands trembled. And still, sleep would not come. One morning, a young novice found Ananda sitting alone by the river, staring at the water. The novice sat beside him quietly. After a long while, he asked, "Brother Ananda, what do you see when you look at the river?" Ananda said, "I see water that never stops moving, and I envy it because it does not try. It simply flows." The novice nodded slowly. "And where is the river trying to go?" Ananda was silent. "Nowhere," the novice said softly. "It is already going, without trying, without checking, without fear." Ananda looked at his own hands, worn and trembling from weeks without rest. And for the first time in 40 nights, something loosened inside his chest. That evening, Ananda walked to where the Buddha sat. He knelt and said, "Teacher, I have lost the ability to sleep. I have tried everything," breathing slowly, counting steps, reciting teachings. Nothing works. What is wrong with me? The Buddha looked at Ananda for a long moment, not with concern, not with pity, with something warmer. Something like recognition. He said, "Tell me, Ananda, when you played the lute as a boy, did you tune the strings very tight or very loose?" Ananda blinked. "Neither, teacher. Too tight, and the string breaks. Too loose, and there is no sound." The Buddha nodded once. "Your mind is the lute, Ananda. You have wound it too tight." The Buddha continued speaking, but his voice had grown quieter now. Slower. "You are not failing to sleep, Ananda. You are fighting sleep, and sleep, like a river, cannot be caught. It can only be joined." Ananda asked, "Then how do I join it?" The Buddha said, "You stop reaching. You stop measuring. You stop asking if you are doing it correctly. You simply lay down your bow." That night, Ananda returned to his sleeping mat. He did not try to sleep. He did not count his breaths. He did not check if he was relaxing correctly. He only lay there and thought of the river, moving without effort, going nowhere in particular, already arriving. And before he finished that thought, he was asleep. Now let the story rest for a moment, and let me speak to you directly. Right now, Your body is heavier than it was when you first lay down. Your breath has slowed, even slightly, even without you asking it to. This is not something you are doing. This is something that is happening to you. Your body already knows how to fall asleep. It has done it thousands of times before. The only thing that ever stops it is the part of you that watches too closely, that checks too often, that asks, "Am I sleeping yet?" Tonight, you do not need to answer that question. Tonight, you only need to stay with the story. Let the words drift over you like water. Warm, slow, without direction. 3 days after Ananda slept, a woman named Mara came to the monastery. She was not evil, though her name was the same as the demon of distraction. She was simply tired. A weaver from the next village, she had not slept in many weeks. Her daughter had been ill. Her husband had left, and the worries had taken root in her chest like stones. She heard there was a monk who had cured his own sleeplessness, and she walked 3 hours in the dark to ask him how. When she arrived, it was just before dawn. Ananda was sitting in the garden, eyes closed, breathing slowly. She sat across from him and waited. When he opened his eyes, he said only, "I cannot sleep. My mind will not stop." And Ananda smiled, because he understood completely. Ananda did not give her a technique. He did not teach her a breathing method. He did not tell her to count backward from 100. He told her a story instead. He said, "There was once a woman who carried a jar of water from the river to her village every day. One night, she was very thirsty. She reached for the jar in the dark, but she could not find it. She searched and searched, hands moving across the floor, heart racing, and then her foot hit something cold and round. The jar. It had been beside her the whole time. Sleep is like that jar," he said. "You do not find it by searching. You find it when you stop and simply become still." Mara sat with those words for a long time. The birds began to sing. The sky turned pale gold, and somehow she felt less afraid of the night than she had in a very long time. Let your body feel the weight of the surface beneath you, not as something to escape, but as something to be held by. The floor, the mat, the mattress, whatever it is that holds you tonight, it has been holding you all along, before you noticed, before you asked it to. Your breath, you did not ask it to slow, but notice how it has. Each exhale just a little longer, just a little softer. This is not sleep, but this is the country that sleep lives in. You are already standing at its border. You do not need to cross it. Just stand here for a while, quietly, without checking, without counting, like Ananda beside the river, like Mara with her jar, already close, already arriving. Mara came back to the monastery the next week, and the week after that. Each time, Ananda told her a story. Never the same story twice. One week he told her about the moon that does not try to make light. It simply faces the sun and reflects what it receives. Another week he told her about a forest where the oldest trees do not fight the wind. They bend and they hold. And in the morning, they are still standing. Mara began to sleep again, not perfectly. Some nights were still difficult, Some nights the stones in her chest felt heavier than others, but she stopped being afraid of the difficulty, and that changed everything. Because the fear of not sleeping is often more exhausting than the sleeplessness itself. This is what the old teachers understood, something we have forgotten in our busy world. The mind is not a machine to be repaired. It is a sky, and thoughts are clouds. You do not need to chase the clouds. You do not need to push them away. You only need to remember that you are the sky. The clouds pass. They always pass. Even the darkest ones. Even the ones that feel permanent. Right now, let any thought that rises simply be a cloud. Acknowledge it. Do not hold it. Do not fight it. Let it drift, the way all clouds drift. Slowly, without a destination, moving on their own. You are not your thoughts tonight. You are only the quiet sky in which the thoughts appear, and then disappear. Before Mara stopped visiting the monastery, she asked Ananda one last question. She said, "Brother Ananda, what do you think about when you are trying to fall asleep?" Ananda smiled at the word trying. He had learned to notice that word. He said, "I think about nothing in particular. I think about the sound of rain on the roof of the meditation hall. I think about the smell of the morning fire before it has fully caught. Small things, simple things, things that ask nothing of me." Mara nodded slowly. "And if the worries come?" "They come," he said. "I bow to them, and then I return to the rain, to the fire, to the simple, small things." She walked home that day with something lighter in her step, not because her problems were solved, but because she had stopped asking sleep to solve them. Let your hands be still now, completely still, not clenched, not reaching, just resting, heavy and warm. And your face. Soften the space between your eyebrows. Let your eyes rest gently, not pressing, not searching. Your jaw. Let it drop just a little. That small release. That small surrender. You do not have to fix anything tonight. The morning will come, and with it, what needs to be tended. But tonight is only for rest. You are not behind. You have not failed. You are simply a person who is lying down in the quiet dark, listening to a story that is older than your worry. That is enough. That is more than enough. On the last day Mara visited the monastery, she brought a gift. A small clay bowl she had made herself. Simple, uneven, still slightly warm from the kiln. She gave it to Ananda and said, "I made this in the dark, by feel, without looking, and it is the most honest thing I have ever made." Ananda turned it over in his hands. He could see the places where her thumbs had pressed, the slight imperfections along the rim, the small crack near the base that had healed in the firing. He said, "This is what sleep looks like. Not perfect, not even, but real, and whole, and enough." He placed the bowl on the altar where it remained for many years. A quiet reminder that the most important things are made in the dark, without looking, without trying, simply by touch and trust. The story is almost over now, and you are still here, still breathing, still held. Ananda slept again. Mara slept again. And somewhere tonight, in 1,000 different beds, in 1,000 different cities, people are finding their way back to rest. Not by winning a battle, not by solving a problem, but by setting something down, Whatever you have been carrying today, you can set it down now. Just for tonight. It will be there in the morning if you need it. But tonight, you do not need it. The story has ended. The river is still moving. The moon is still reflected in the water below. And you, like Ananda, like Mara, like every tired soul who ever lay down in the dark and finally let go, you are already on your way. Good night. Sleep well. You are safe. You are held. And you are already arriving